Infidelity never happens suddenly. It is not a bolt from the blue, as many are accustomed to thinking in an attempt to shield their psyche from pain. Before betrayal takes on a physical form, before the irreversible happens, it incubates for a long time in the invisible field between two people. It is a virus that infects the system long before the first symptoms appear. You feel it. You feel it long before you see the first proof. A stray hair, a strange receipt, or a closed chat window. It feels like a shift in atmospheric pressure before a storm. The air in the house becomes heavier, familiar words change their weight, and a familiar laugh acquires alien, cold, metallic notes. A woman's energy transforms, and somewhere deep in your soul, at the level of ancient instincts that helped your ancestors survive in the wild, you already know something has gone wrong. The mechanism has been triggered, but the mind, that eternal advocate of comfort, tries to silence the alarm signal, inventing thousands of logical excuses so you can sleep peacefully for at least one more night. In this breakdown, we will tear the masks off 7 signs that a woman has already crossed the line emotionally or physically. We won't talk about banalities like phone passwords or working late, that's for amateurs. We will go deeper into the dark waters of behavioral psychology to where true motives and unconscious reactions hide. You will learn to see not just actions, but the hidden meanings behind them, to understand the nature of manipulation and, most importantly, to maintain ice-cold calm when someone tries to shake your world. Because in this situation, knowledge is the only armor that cannot be taken away from you. Let's start with a paradox that confuses even the most experienced men. The first sign is a sudden, frightening, crystal-clear honesty. At first, it seems like a breath of fresh air. Before, she might have been slightly closed off, nervously turning her phone screen down, or flinching when you approach too quietly. And now she is serenity itself. She leaves her gadgets wherever. She willingly tells you about her day in minute detail. She even mentions other men's names in conversation, doing so with an ease that lulls your vigilance to sleep. It seems to you that the level of trust in the couple has skyrocketed. You relax. You think, I have nothing to worry about. She's an open book. But this isn't trust. This is a high-class survival strategy. When a woman is already involved in a game on the side, she understands perfectly. Acting suspicious means signing her own warrant. She needs a flawless alibi. And the best alibi is artificial transparency. She starts feeding you small portions of safe truth to hide a massive lie behind them. This is a classic illusionist's trick. Distract attention with a bright gesture of one hand while the other hides the card up the sleeve. She might say, "Oh, that colleague texted me today. He's so funny," always joking out of place, and even show you an absolutely innocent message. Your brain checks a box. She's hiding nothing. She even told me about him. Your internal guard lowers his shield. That is exactly what she wanted. She trains your perception, accustoming you to the thought that there is nothing to be jealous of. And as soon as you stop scanning the horizon for threats, the real actions begin. Deep late-night texts, meetings masked as routine, emotional intimacy with another, all this happens in the shadow of that very honesty she built as a facade. The psychology here is simple. A traitor's biggest fear is looking secretive, so she plays proactively, creating an image of holy innocence. Her tone becomes frighteningly calm, her answers smooth, as if rehearsed in front of a mirror, and often they are rehearsed. Most men make a fatal mistake at this moment. They confuse comfort with true intimacy. But remember, sincerity brings people closer, while the imitation of sincerity creates an invisible wall. If you notice that there are more stories, more details, but less warmth and less real pull towards you, this is a signal. The next stage of immersion into this dark reality is even more insidious. The second sign is aggressive projection. Suddenly, the script flips upside down. The one who should be quieter than water suddenly becomes the prosecutor. She starts suspecting you, Questions rain down one after another. Who are you texting? Why did you come back so late? You've become cold. You definitely have someone. You sit in absolute bewilderment. Your life hasn't changed. Your conscience is clear. You are as loyal to her as you were yesterday. Why are you being backed into a corner? This phenomenon is called projection of guilt. It is a defense mechanism of the psyche, old as the world. Humans naturally strive for internal equilibrium. When a woman cheats, colossal tension grows inside her. The weight of the secret presses down. To not feel like a villain in her own eyes, she needs to balance the scales of morality. She needs you to be the bad one. She projects her sins onto you, attributing her own secret motives and actions to you. This is emotional inversion. Instead of looking in the mirror and seeing a traitor, she turns you into an unreliable partner. But this isn't just psychology. It's also a tactic. It is a brilliant distraction maneuver. While you are busy with excuses, while you are proving you're not a camel, showing your phone, and turning your soul inside out, she buys precious time. She seizes the initiative. Now she is not the criminal. She is the victim of your alleged indifference or infidelity, and you stand in the dock for a crime you didn't commit. The more you justify yourself, the more convinced she becomes of her righteousness, and the more power she gains over the situation. A healthy psyche does not generate suspicion out of thin air. If claims arise from nowhere, it means what changed is not your behavior, but her conscience. The third sign often goes unnoticed because it seems harmless, but for an attentive man, this is perhaps the most precise indicator of another person appearing in the equation. It is a change in her tastes, habits, and vocabulary. We humans are social and mirroring creatures. We subconsciously copy those who trigger a strong emotional and hormonal response in us. When we fall in love or experience strong passion, we adopt the slang, intonations, and interests of the object of our desire. This happens completely unconsciously, like an automatic software update that makes her system compatible with a new user. Watch her speech closely. If your woman, who always spoke literarily, suddenly starts using strange slang, filler words, or specific terms that were never in her dictionary before, this is a wake-up call. Where did she get them? She caught them from someone she spends a lot of time with emotionally. Pay attention even to fine motor skills, new hand gestures, a different way of holding a cup, or an unfamiliar smirk in response to jokes. All these are unconscious casts of his behavior. The same applies to music, food, and sudden hobbies. If she hated rock all her life, but now guitars are thundering in her playlist, this isn't just a change of taste. This is an attempt to get closer to a new partner by sharing his world. It is especially bitter to realize that she might have ignored or criticized your tastes for years, while she accepts the habits of this invisible man instantly and without resistance as absolute truth. She brings home mental trophies from another man. Those new words are his words. That music is what plays in his car. A sudden interest in football or cars is an attempt to share the interests of a new male. You talk to her, but you hear echoes of his thoughts. This is the creepiest kind of invasion because it shows that her mind has already been colonized by another person, even if physically she is sitting in front of you in the kitchen. You look at a familiar silhouette, but realize with horror that the internal content of this vessel has already been completely replaced. The fourth sign strikes at the most painful spot: male pride. This is the total erosion of respect. At first, it happens barely noticeably, on a micro level. A slight smirk in response to your idea. A sarcastic joke in a group of friends that cuts a little deeper than etiquette allows. Eye-rolling when you start speaking. Gradually, the temperature rises. She interrupts, she devalues your achievements, and your presence begins to be perceived as an annoying hindrance. Brother, understand one fundamental thing. When a woman starts showing disrespect, it is not an accident and not just a bad mood. It is emotional preparation for a breakup. It is the foundation she lays to justify her betrayal to herself. The psyche struggles to live in a state of cognitive dissonance. I am a good woman, but I am acting vilely towards a good man. This equation doesn't add up. For it to resolve, a variable must change. You must stop being a good man in her eyes. She is effectively rewriting the history of your relationship, where your past care is retroactively turned into suffocation and your stability into unbearable boredom. She needs to convince herself that you are unworthy of loyalty. She starts looking for flaws under a microscope. She inflates your minor slip-ups to the scale of a universal catastrophe. It's as if she is looking at you through a deliberately distorted mirror. Whatever you do, she sees only the distortion that benefits her conscience. You will hear phrases like, "You've changed," "You don't hear me," "You're dragging me down." You will start doubting yourself, sifting through past days in your memory, trying to understand where you stumbled. But the truth is that disrespect begins not because you became worse. It begins because her focus has shifted. Her admiration is now directed at another object, and you have turned into an obstacle on the path to this new source of dopamine. That other guy is, for her right now, an idealized mirage devoid of flaws, while you become the embodiment of the grey reality she is desperately trying to escape. Without respect, female attachment is impossible. As soon as respect leaves, love dies, right behind it. Trying to negotiate the return of respect at this stage is like trying to hold water in your hands. The harder you squeeze your fingers trying to fix everything, the faster it leaks out. The fifth sign is uncontrolled outbursts of rage out of the blue. The woman who used to laugh at your silly jokes and seek your touch now explodes at the way you breathe or the way you chew. Your presence in the room creates static tension that you could cut with a knife. It seems as if the air itself in your shared space is poisoned with invisible venom, and you are the only one choking in this atmosphere. At first, you blame stress, work, hormones, the phase of the moon, anything to avoid looking the truth in the eye. But let's look deeper. What is happening inside her? A splitting of personality is occurring. She is torn between guilt towards you and the desire to be with another. This is an internal conflict of colossal force. Every minute she spends pretending to be loving, while her thoughts hover far away, acts like acid corroding the remains of her patience, and this destructive energy must find an exit. The easiest way to release the tension is to make you the source of all troubles. Subconsciously, she craves for you to snap, for you to yell back, giving her a valid, ironclad reason to hate you, because hatred is much easier to bear than one's own moral decay. She provokes arguments intentionally. She needs conflict. What for? To create a legal reason for distance. She needs a reason to slam the door and go, "Get some air," but in reality to call him. She needs a reason to sleep in another room or turn to the wall, avoiding intimacy. These artificially created scandals become her exit ticket from reality, allowing her to legally escape into a fantasy world where she is allegedly understood and where there is no hateful domestic routine. She needs to create a story where you are a tyrant or an unbearable bore, and she is an unhappy woman seeking solace. Her brain whispers to her, "See, it's impossible to live with him. I have a right to happiness elsewhere." Anger is the fuel for her departure. It is not a reaction to your actions. It is a projection of her internal struggle. You become a lightning rod for a storm she summoned herself, and the paradox is that the harder you try to keep the peace and smooth the corners, the fiercer her thunder becomes. The sixth sign is something men often keep silent about, but feel most acutely. The body never lies. Reason can build the most complex schemes of lies. The tongue can say, "I love you," but the body will always reveal the truth through reflexes. This is a change in tactility. Notice how she behaves when you touch her. Before, she would lean into your hand, melt in your embrace. Now, you feel micro-tension. An invisible glass wall seems to grow between you. You see her, you can touch her, but warmth no longer passes through this barrier. She freezes like a trapped animal, or pulls away barely noticeably. Kisses become short, dry, formal, just a ritual of goodbye or greeting, devoid of life. Yes, physical intimacy might still be present, Many women continue to maintain contact with partners out of a sense of duty or to cover their tracks, marital duty, as the perfect alibi. But the soul leaves these moments. In such minutes, you can almost physically feel the chilling loneliness, realizing that she only allows you to be near, but mentally she is thousands of kilometers away from your bedroom. She might close her eyes, turn away, ask to turn off the light, or, conversely, suddenly suggest new techniques and experiments she was previously shy about. And you rejoice, thinking this is a revival of passion, but ask yourself a cruel question. Where did she learn this? Who removed these blocks? Often, new things in your bedroom are just homework received and rehearsed elsewhere, but most often it is simply coldness. Her body is now tuned to another man, to a different genetic and chemical code, and the touch of the ex, even if you are still husband by documents, causes her subconscious biological rejection. Her skin no longer wants you. Nature is cruel in its directness. Her organism begins to react to you as an alien element, engaging defense mechanisms that cannot be turned off by willpower. And finally, the seventh sign, the most important, the most accurate, your own instinct. Many men are used to ignoring this quiet voice, considering it a manifestation of insecurity or paranoia. We are taught to rely on facts, on logic, on evidence. Don't believe it until you see it with your own eyes. But in matters of human relationships, evolution gave us a tool that works faster than any detective agency. You feel it in your gut, a strange pulling sensation in the solar plexus. You come home, see her in the armchair, but you realize the house is empty. She is not here. It is like looking at an empty shell. The rhythm of communication has changed. The temperature of glances has changed. Pauses have appeared that weren't there before. Your subconscious reads thousands of microsignals: pupil dilation, facial microexpressions, smell, the subtlest changes in body language. The brain hasn't had time to formulate a thought yet, but the body is already sounding the alarm. It is an ancient biochemical radar that cannot be deceived by memorized phrases, because it reacts not to the sound of a voice, but to the vibration of lies emanating from a person. She might be sweet, she might smile, she might say the right words, but you feel the falseness. You feel the cold radiating from her, even when she hugs. And here begins the hardest part. She will convince you that you have lost your mind, that you are overthinking, that you need to treat your nerves. This is gaslighting, an attempt to make you doubt your own sanity to hide reality. Remember a fundamental truth. Real love and loyalty provide a sense of peace, of fundamentality. They do not create murky waters. If you are in a constant state of anxiety, if you cannot find peace, this is not your suspiciousness. This is your signal system screaming that the territory is unsafe. Your psyche wouldn't launch emergency mode and deprive you of sleep without a valid reason if the threat were merely a figment of your imagination. Your intuition is not a weakness. It is a gift of survival. Do not demand the truth from her. You will only get a new portion of lies packed in beautiful excuses. Trust that beast inside you that smells danger when the mind is still asleep. What to do with all this knowledge? How should a man who wants to preserve himself react? The biggest mistake is to start hysterics, beg, demand, or try to compete with a ghost. This is the path of weakness. Your strength lies in your autonomy. Stop looking for confirmation. Stop asking. If the puzzle has come together in your head, if all signs have converged at one point, you don't need her confession. You need your decision. When a woman crosses the line, she makes a choice. And you must respect that choice by making your own a choice in favor of yourself. Step back. Remove initiative. Become an observer, not a participant. Calmness is what destroys manipulation most effectively. When you stop feeding her drama with your emotions, she is left in a void. A woman who truly cherishes a union will never make you doubt reality. She will protect your peace. not destroy it. Therefore, if you recognized your situation in these words, do not close your eyes. The pain of truth is sharp, but it heals. Illusion is a sweet poison that kills slowly. Your answer to betrayal should not be a scream, but ice-cold silence and distance. Sometimes walking away without explaining anything is the only way to win a game where the rules were broken not by you. Ultimately, the main trophy in this life is not keeping someone nearby at any cost. It is your own peace of mind and self-respect. If this video resonated with you, if you felt that the veil has been lifted slightly, then you are already on the right path. Trust yourself more than anyone else, because in the darkness of someone else's lies, only your inner light will help you find the way out. Want to understand people better and not let yourself be pushed around? Subscribe to Psycheria. Here we talk about psychology honestly, without fluff or complicated terms. Find out how things really work. Leave your comments and see you in new, interesting videos.